It's 4:47, Sunday, August 27th. This is Hurricane Harvey. Unprecedented rainfall. This will go down as the worst flood in the history of Houston, Texas. It is still raining. This will probably go down as the 500-year flood for this area. We are now at the Memorial Day flood elevation of 2015. It is now 5 a.m. on Sunday, August 27th or 8th. Rain continues to fall. It is now 5:12 on Sunday, August 27th. The water is just about ready to surge in my garage. Another inch or two and I'll have water in the garage. It is now 5:15 and water has entered the garage. Still raining, and there's more to come. Here's a close-up of the water entering the garage. Just trickling in, just a little at a time. It is now 5:20 and the water has entered the garage slowly but surely, and it's about ready to hit the back of the curb stop here in a second. It is now 5:22 and the water has almost made it to the back of the garage. Slowly rising. It is now 5:30 and the water has made it to the back of the curb stop. So it took about 30 minutes from the time of entry to get to the back of the curb stop. So it is rising very, very slowly, which is a good thing. It is now 5:40. Poor Farm Ditch has reached maximum capacity on Bluebonnet Street, and now the water is flowing away from the ditch as opposed to towards the ditch. This is unprecedented since I've lived here, but I believe during Tropical Storm Allison, the water was even higher. It is now 6 o'clock, and the rain has let up slightly. The water is still rising, but it seems to be holding it steady. Poor Farm Ditch is now flowing to the east, the way it should normally flow in a flood situation. Hopefully it will not rise too much more. It is now 6:34. The rain has finally let up just a little. Got water rising up to the second, above the first step, but approaching the second step. I'm going to walk out of the garage and we're going to have a view of the bayou and Poor Farm Ditch. Water's continuing to rise. My rain gauge is floating, but it has not floated away yet. Hopefully the rain will slow down just enough and won't allow it to get much higher than this. It's 7 a.m. now. I'm coming out to make my 7 a.m. daily measurement. Obviously, my gauge is underwater, but it's not floating away. It's still maintaining itself because it's connected to the steel cage here, so it has not actually floated away, but it is The water is up to the top of the second ring that holds it in place. 7 a.m. on Sunday. This is the yard marker that I've been using to measure floods. This will be our third flood, and obviously it's the highest, and you can tell where the line is. It's to the E in Bluebonnet, or the D or ED Edlow. It's letter D. 7 a.m. I think this is the peak of the flood. This should be the peak of the flood right now. It is now 7:37. We're at max flood right now. The water has not, it's leveled off. It has crested, but it's not getting any higher, but it's leveling off at this level right now. And it's starting to rain again. It's now a little after 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. The rain has pretty much stopped. The bayou has reached a flat crest, but it has not receded just yet. I am walking down the driveway into the street, and now I'm approaching the center of the street. Just getting some good benchmarks here. You got the barricades here, water just to the very tip of the bottom, and then the grates that go across the drain water line, and the water is just about covering both of them. One's a little lower than the other, but that is an amazing shot there, how high the water is. Don't even know if you can see it in the picture, but I'm going to try to get a little closer. Yes, there it is. This is the sign again. It is right up to the top. This is my backyard. Our trash can has literally floated all the way around our property and is now on the other side of the house. Exactly in this spot, but directly on the other side of the house. Right by the gate to the gate on the other side. Pretty amazing how the water just pushed it all the way around the house, and it's stuck because it wants to get out, but the wrought iron fence is holding it in on the other side of the house. This is Poor Farm Ditch in our backyard. Water is under the house. All the flood vents are doing their job. We've got water under the house, but that's what it was designed to do. And we just got to wait for the water to recede. There's Karen's statue. His head's nicely above the water line there. And there's the back of the house. It is now 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Rain has picked up again, not too intense, but a little bit more. Water has come up maybe another inch or so. And this is the view from the weather office, or the office of our house. The rain has finally stopped, and the Coast Guard is doing a rescue on Underwood Street on Buffalo Speedway. You can probably hear the rumble of the chopper. I don't have a visual on the actual bird yet, but when it clears the trees, I'm going to try to take a picture of that also. It is now 12:15. The rain has stopped. The water came up a couple more inches total since the last time, so it pretty much held steady once it got to the point of flood, and it stayed at that position, and it just recently went up another couple inches. My pole here is completely underwater. I can see the very top of it, my marking stick that I've been using, so the water probably has come up only about maybe 2 inches in the last 3 hours or 4 hours since it reached a peak, and it maintained that same level continuously, and it went up maybe another inch. I can barely see the top of this little pole right here. There's my National Weather Service rain gauge. I made the right decision in moving the gauge across the street to a higher elevation to keep recording the rainfall. That was a smart move because I knew it was going to eventually float away, and that's what I ended up doing. The time is now 5:38 on Sunday. The water has been slowly going down. It looks as though the water is shifting back towards Poor Farm Ditch, which is a good sign. It means that everything is slowly receding and the water is trying to go back in its channel as opposed to escaping its channel and going to the east towards Galveston Bay, which is a natural flow of the land in this part of southeast Texas. There's a helicopter searching for people that want to get landed. It is now 10:40 on Sunday. The water has receded somewhat. It's been very, very slow. Remember, the peak of this flood was around 10 a.m. yesterday, or today, but at 10 a.m., and it's been pretty much holding steady and slowly going down. We had another burst of rain between 8 and 9:30, and it only caused the water to rise maybe an inch, and now it is slowly going down. Water is moving out, and I have a feeling by the time I wake up tomorrow morning, the street will be dry. So that is it for this flood event in terms of visually seeing the water, and I hope and pray that it'll all be gone in the morning. Good night. The time now is Monday morning at 7 a.m. Look at the difference. I got up around 2 o'clock and there was still water in the garage. It was probably right at the top of that weep hole, not weep hole, but the side vent there, the flood vent. And I went to bed again, and it's now 4 hours later, and all the water has completely drained off. Poor Farm Ditch is back in its bank. The street is almost completely clear. That's in 4 hours after the water was completely still inundating my garage. It is almost completely gone. I think we're going to make it through this. It is now 7:30 on Monday morning. The water is completely gone off our street except at the corner. It is draining rapidly. Braeswood is one of the fastest rising watersheds in Harris County, but it's also one of the fastest draining watersheds in Harris County. As a matter of fact, it's both. It's the fastest to rise and the fastest to drain off, as evident by the storm today. This street was completely underwater. Water was in my garage 4 hours ago, and it is completely gone almost. It is just sucking out. It'll be clear here in about another 30 minutes. You can just see the water rushing down the storm drain. It is now 8 a.m. on Monday morning. This is Poor Farm Ditch at Buffalo Speedway. It is really starting to drain quickly. This water should all be gone in the next 30 to 45 minutes. Trying to find the elevation of how high the water got, and I'm definitely sure it was over the entire bridge here. Look at this house. The whole garage was sucked in by the force of the water. Look at the Braeswood Place monument sign. The water probably toppled that. And we'll be back shortly. A view from the upstream side of the Buffalo Speedway Bridge over Poor Farm Ditch. This water is rapidly draining off. Look at the suction. Everything is lower. All the elevations are going down, and the water is going back in the channel. This street will be cleared in another 15 minutes. This street will be cleared. Amazing how fast the water is draining off now. Once the bio reached its peak and everything got to an equilibrium, and now everything is just draining rapidly.